In 1856, just 2 years after Spurgeon began his ministry at New Park Street Baptist, he felt a burden to train pastors for the ministry. 2 Timothy 2:2 speaks of teaching them also. The things that thou hast learned of me, the same are to be taught to faithful men also. Spurgeon began in the basement of another pastor's church, teaching pastors, and God began to raise up men. In fact, he trained over 900 such men who went out with the gospel of Jesus Christ, faithfully proclaiming the truth so needed in the world. In 1874, the church built premises for the college behind the Metropolitan Tabernacle, and this is where Spurgeon did the bulk of his training of the pastors. In 1922, someone donated the property where I'm standing now with room for dormitories and more classrooms, and the training continued on. In fact, some of those that were trained literally gave their lives in faraway places like China as martyrs for the gospel of Jesus Christ. The college's very first student, Thomas Medhurst, was a man whose preaching was difficult to listen to. And in fact, some of the congregants there at the Met Tabernacle even complained to Spurgeon. He said, "I talked to the young brother, and while he did not deny that his English was imperfect and that he made mistakes in various respects, he said, 'I must preach, sir. I shall preach unless you cut off my head.'" Spurgeon said they didn't want to do that, so they continued to let him preach. And he said, "I must do what I can to get him an education that will fit him for the ministry." And this was his passion. Spurgeon himself never attended college, but he had a great passion to train the next generation. In fact, J. Sidlow Baxter became a graduate of this college, as well as his son Thomas, who also served as the pastor at the Metropolitan Tabernacle. When we think about the Bible college movement, we think about Spurgeon. He fought the downgrade controversy. He fought the liberalism of his day. He stood for the truth and wanted these men in the college to have training that was faithful to the Word. This was his passion. He was a man that wanted pure doctrine to permeate the hearts and lives of preachers, and that's our passion today. And even with the ministry of West Coast Baptist College, being an independent Baptist college, our heart is that young men and women will hold to the truth of the Word of God and then propagate it, even as Spurgeon's passion and those before him in various schools, whether the schools of the Waldensians. God has raised up people throughout the ages to be faithful. And it's my prayer that we will be faithful in our generation.